You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world.
Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur's Enigma podcast. I am, as always, your host, Seth, with Podcast Mastery and Goldstein Media. Today, I have a good buddy of mine, Maneeza. I've been calling him Maneeza for so long. I just learned it as Maneeza because there's no ja in the English language, so she's unique. So they had to put a Z instead of a J.
I appreciate that.
Exactly. Maneeza, we're going to call it. No, Maneeza is the CEO and founder of Marvel Marketers, an award-winning global digital marketing agency known for building high-performance marketing automation strategies, demand gen systems, and products that producing standout marketing events. So that's really cool. We met, I think, originally on LinkedIn somehow, or I don't know where we met. We just came out and hit it off.
I can't remember anymore.
It's been a while, exactly. So you have more than, I'm telling her, like you have 20 years of experience leading at the intersection of marketing and technology and strategy. She also was an economics instructor.
Yeah.
So like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, that. And you also are the founder of MPACT, Marvel Marketers Charitable Foundation, dedicated to creating meaningful, sustained impact into underserved communities. So that's awesome. And it's great. So especially now with Sam Frank, because you're on the Bay Area, I'm sure there's areas of that need more help than others.
That's actually been one of, I know we're just kind of going into impact, but that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of what I do. We've actually been really surprised how difficult it is sometimes to find the right communities to be able to successfully help. So
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
We've been really shocked by it. So what we've decided to do to help kind of fix that problem a little bit is we try to do one initiative locally, which is a little tricky, but then also one internationally, which becomes much easier. Yeah, it becomes much easier. So we've done some really cool
easier
stuff.
to do international.
It is because there's unfortunately more people need help internationally.
Yeah.
While logistically it gets a little bit harder, the impact goes much deeper and also farther. Yeah, so we've done some really cool things abroad as well. And if we have time, I'm happy to chat about any of those.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. Also an economics professor. So only thing worse than corporate is academia.
Yeah.
Academia is tough.
Academia is just slow.
Yeah.
It's not tough, it's slow. And so depending on what it is that drives you and makes your heart sing, right?
Yeah.
Academia is a amazing place for the thinkers and the discussions and all of that, but then when you really want to kind of get into nuts and bolts and reality, then corporate's a little bit stronger on that side.
Exactly. So did you do the corporate side of things too? Like what made you become an economics instructor and professor?
I have to give all the credit to a specific gentleman who was my graduate advisor. And this is the true story of how I became an adjunct professor. And then I ended up growing from there. I had finished an economics degree at Berkeley. And then I went and I worked at Salesforce. I was employee 42 there randomly. It was like my first job out of college.
42, that's a good number.
Dumb luck, just dumb luck. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Corporate America, it's like, it didn't feed my altruism at the time because it was the .com and it was all about like going IPO, etc. So I was like, I know I'm going to go back into the social sector. So I actually walked into the campus at a state school where I got my master's, and I was like, I think I'm going to go get another degree because that's just what you do when you're like 21, you don't know what else to do.
So let's go back to school. Back where it's comfortable. Exactly.
So I got another degree in economics, and so now I'm sitting here with a bunch of economics background and also some lightweight teaching experience.
When you're a graduate, it's free, it's cheap labor. So yeah.
Exactly. And so when I graduated, my graduate advisor said, listen, you really need to consider teaching.
Yeah.
I was like, no, which is ironic because my mother was an instructor, my father was an instructor, my older sister was a professor. Like, it runs in the family. And I was like, no, 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 I want to do my own thing. I don't want to do that because I had
Yeah.
also had a touch of the startup world, and I thought, well, I'll into
Yeah.
that.
It's
And he's
infectious.
like, you really need to consider it. And so he was hounding me for a solid 6 months before graduation. And then coincidentally, a sad coincidence, right before I graduated, an instructor at the university I ended up teaching with had emergency health issues. The
Oh,
economics professor, the
oh
tenured
geez. So
economics
they
professor.
needed someone to be fill in.
Yeah, so he had like 6 classes all of a sudden up in the air. And so the advisor's like, you have to apply. I've already given your name. You have to go do it. You'd be a really good instructor. And I was like, okay, look, for you, I'm going to take the call. So I get
Yeah.
on a call, and what really worked in my favor, because I was super young,
Yeah.
was that the dean was out of the country. So he couldn't actually meet me. We could only talk over the
Hmm.
phone. And so all he
Yeah.
had was my resume and the conversation to make a
Yeah.
judgment. And so he actually hired 3 of us, the very first 3 applicants, whoever they were, of that first batch, and
Yeah.
piloted all of us, gave us all
Wow.
one class. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll teach one class. And, I kind of fell in love with it. It fell in love with me. I ended
Oh,
up getting the rest of the classes, and then I ended up teaching for the next 12 years from there.
wow. And then
Yeah.
you decided, all right, enough of this academic stuff, and let's go out on our own. Or did you go back to
No,
corporate for a
I'm
little
never
while?
linear. Yeah, I'm never linear. So what ended up happening is, after teaching economics, that hasn't really changed since 40, 45 years now. None
Yeah.
of the theories have really changed much.
Yeah.
After teaching it and teaching across multiple campuses and all the classes, micro, macro, econ for you name it.
Wow.
I did all of those things and I loved it, but then I was kind of a little bit bored, because it wasn't
It
changing.
doesn't
And that,
change. Yeah.
and I actually then had a student in my class who, I would just kind of talk to my students. They were about my own age, right? I was just talking to them, telling them all my, I guess, my problems. And one of them's like, I work at a great company. If you're willing to kind of go through their grind, they have a grind. I think you'd be good there. And that turned out to be a software company, another software company, except this time for the investment industry,
Oh, yeah. Money, money, money. Yeah.
which again became a really good marriage because I had this big economics
Economics. Yeah.
background and a tech background. So then I went there and I worked there for about 4 years. And I didn't stop teaching. I just taught in the evenings instead.
Yeah. Yeah. Because teaching
Right. So
fits in where you need to. But yeah,
yeah,
that's kind
exactly.
of
So
cool.
super cool. Great company. I learned tons. Some of my best investment decisions came from the knowledge I made,
There
because
you go.
part of my job was to talk to money managers. And
Oh, and they're like,
yeah,
well,
so
I
I
can't
got,
tell you the inside stuff, but
no, they can't.
here's general knowledge, and you pick up on it. Yeah.
Correct. And I used to joke around and said I should have seen the financial crisis coming, because I would be talking to a money manager
Yeah.
and they'd say, how this, your system's broken. And I'm like, no, it's a big calculator. It's not broken. It's going to calculate your time weighted returns or your internal returns. The
Yeah.
math is the math. And they'd be like, no, prove it to me. And then I would do the math with him. I'd show him how his return was calculated. And it would be like -4% return on his portfolio. And he'd be like, that's not right. I need you to change it. And I'm like, I'm not going to change anything. My job is just to show you how it works. And the guy in front of me, the money manager in front of me, went in and would change his returns. And there was a few instances like this. And that was right before the financial crisis. When I was
Oh,
doing,
Lehman Brothers. Yeah. Mm.
exactly. Yeah.
And
So
so when did you start up Marvel Marketers?
yeah. So a few more things before that. So
Oh, wow, you kept on
yeah,
going.
just like I said, I was just doing lots of things at once because I enjoy work. And so
Yeah.
after about 4 years there, I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to start my own company. Just
Ooh.
made a decision out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm going to start a company that marries education with technology, because that was my two
Ooh.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I actually had a whole other startup, a product company called myustad.com, which still think is very viable.
Yeah.
And it was meant to marry those two things. So I started working on it. I worked on it for about a year, had developers. I was really kind of in over my head. I don't think I had
Mm.
all the requisite skill sets
Yeah,
to
but
make.
you live and you learn. Exactly. You pivot.
I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is, while I was building that, and it was not actually going as fast as I'd like, social
Yeah.
media really became kind of a huge thing. This is like 2010-ish.
Yeah. Hmm.
And someone reached out to me on LinkedIn, one of my friends who I had worked with at the other company, and
Yeah.
said, "Listen, why are you all over our competitors' content? If you want to work in this industry, you should come join this great company I've joined." And that was Marketo. And this,
Oh, yeah, I remember that. We told you, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this was circa 2009. So I ended up joining this really like
Scrappy, they were
fast
scrappy back
growing
then.
startup that ended up being one of the fastest
Yeah.
growing SaaS companies in history.
Yeah, all marketing automation and stuff. It was wild,
Correct,
yeah.
correct. And the way I the way I got that job was funny too, because I was going back and forth. The role I wanted had just been filled. So I was
Yeah.
the VP at the time, and he said, "Listen, like, you like us, we like you. Why don't you just get started?" Like, he was probably annoyed with me, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a fast growing startup, and I'm over here trying to find this perfect job. He was, "Look, we like you like us. Just join. It's a growing company. We'll figure it out." And
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfortable with ambiguity. So I said, "Okay, well, what job do you have?" And he actually put 4 jobs on the whiteboard.
You
And he
pick
said,
one.
and I didn't even know what they meant, because they, titles are random. Like,
You tell
titles.
us a chief bottle washer. It's like,
No,
oh, what's
it
that?
was like, one was like solutions consultant, but then the other one was like consultant. And I'm like, okay, one's on the sales side, one is on services, and then the other
Yeah.
one was like account manager, which sounded like sales, but it wasn't sales. So, anyways, 4 roles that really, titles really don't mean much, right? So I
No,
said,
you do.
okay,
Yeah,
which
especially
one
in a
of these,
startup.
particularly in a startup.
Yeah.
So I said, which one of these is going to help me learn the most about the industry? Because it was a brand
Yeah.
new industry. And they said, probably professional services. And I said, great, sign me up. So that's how I ended up starting my professional services career in
Yeah.
that industry. And I ended up, over the next almost 4 years, working at this great startup that taught
Yeah.
me tons. And um, I ended up working with several hundred clients. And I
Yeah, I
had no
bet
idea
it.
about
Marketo
it.
was like fast growing.
Very fast.
Weren't they bought out by HubSpot or something?
No, they were bought out by Adobe. First, they were bought out by Vista for
Yeah,
about
Vista, and then
for
Adobe
about
bought them. Yeah,
$2 billion, two something, and then within a few years, it was bought by Adobe for like 5 billion.
5 billion. Oh, that's all. 5 billion.
Yeah, that's just 5 billion. Yeah, I mean, I was just like happy to be there, and so after 3.5 years, whatever, however long I was there, it seems like 50 years. It was such a grind, a really fun grind though. Like startups
Fun
are,
grind. I know what you mean by fun grind. It's
yeah.
tough. It's long hours,
Mhm.
but it's fun, and you don't mind the hours as much as long as you
No,
get a break every 6 months.
right, and if it's either for you or not for you, like you'll know fast.
Yeah.
Right, but I loved it, and I had no idea that I was like kind of really good at some things that I just didn't know. It was untapped things that I both
Yeah, you're
enjoyed.
like, oh, I'm actually good at this. That's awesome. Yeah.
So then, after Marketo went public, I was actually in Chicago on a client side when they kind of had their ticker. They went public. It was this really exciting IPO, and I was like, this seems like a good time to move on. And I had no plan. The reason I didn't have a plan is I knew that I was so marketable, because
Yeah,
there
you
was
did a little bit of this. You made yourself a spot at a startup. It's like, you find your way anywhere.
there was a huge labor shortage for that particular skill set with all of our clients. So I just
Yeah.
assumed I would do what a lot of consultants do, which is like they kind of talk about their not my own consultants today, right? You kind of talk about your non-compete. I thought I was like, okay, I was going to probably get an offer by anyone in the thousands of
Yeah.
clients that just bought the product, any one of them. It didn't. And so I went and I gave my notice to Marketo, and they were like, still growing very fast, and they're like, listen, like, what can you give us? Like, let's work it out. And I told them I was going to leave. It's not like I was going to change my mind, but we
Yeah.
both, I really appreciated the opportunity they gave me. And
Yeah.
I think that I was doing a lot for them. And so we kind of made an agreement that I would work for 6 months to help
Yeah. Oh, that's a
transition.
good runway. Yeah, kind of make sure they're
Yeah,
set up.
I really wanted to make sure I left correctly an organization that had given me a lot. And
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
that's a really important profile, not just of me, but of Marvel and of MPACT,
Yeah.
which is, I'm very relationship based. And products are going to come and go, industries are going to come and go, but it sounds a little corny, but people really are important. They really
They
are.
are.
They really are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I made sure to kind of take care of everything. I trained who I needed to train. I transitioned the projects I needed to transition, and the 6 months were over, and everything was very confidential. So people were like a little confused, but I was told not to talk about anything, which I didn't talk about anything. I just did my job, and then when the 6 months finished, they actually we had great conversation. It was very like a kind of a logical conversation. And they said, listen, like we have a couple projects. We want you to just close them out because they were tough projects. And
Yeah, and you knew what
one
you're doing.
was a
Yeah.
red account. One was a red account. No one wanted it. So
So yeah, here, go out with a bang. Exactly.
yeah, and then that's kind of what started it all. And so from there, I kind of became a free agent. I had taken care of my responsibilities to Marketo.
Yeah, that's on
They
good
were fully
terms. Yeah.
aware. I was, I told them I had a direct conversation with them where they were like, don't poach our clients. I was like, I never would. I never would. And I just had referrals just coming
Yeah,
through.
because you were totally sellable. It's not, now you were in Marvel, right?
Yeah, so I started Marvel.
Yeah.
And it was really, I'd love to tell you that I was like, okay, I'm going to go and start an agency. That's the next step for me. It definitely, I did have to stop and think for a
Yeah.
minute. Like, what do I want to
Take
do?
a beat. Take a beat. Kind of figure stuff
Exactly.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I made the decision knowing it was pretty high risk.
Oh yeah.
And some kind of, fun parts about it is it was so high risk. Like I didn't tell my mom and dad, God rest his soul, because I knew they would be worried. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a first generation refugee. So for us, I had already
Oh.
reached a pinnacle, which was getting a job that pays you well,
And being
that's
successful. Yeah.
stable, and being successful.
And now you're going out on your own. You're like, what are you doing?
Yes, I just didn't tell them. But they're smart. They eventually guessed, obviously. But
Yeah. Like, why are you out at lunch at this hour?
yeah, it was just you
I
could just
want with a client. Oh no, I'm in a client meeting. Oh, and
exactly.
the
And
cat's out of the bag.
the footprint of a job looks very different than the
It
footprint.
does. It does. And parents know. Moms always know.
Exactly. Yeah, my dad was quite smart as well. So cat kind of got out of the bag early, but it was a risk, but a calculated risk.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to do that. Exactly. So you did that. You went into that. And so this whole time, now you're an entrepreneur, like full entrepreneur, not side hustling, like just doing your thing.
Whole thing.
What
Yeah.
is the best thing about being an entrepreneur? Because I mean, you've had lots of fun
Yeah.
prior, but what's the best thing
Yeah.
about being an entrepreneur now?
There's two things that are amazing and kind of irreplaceable for me.
Hmm.
The first is I always felt a bit of a tug of war when I would work between wanting to do things that kind of fulfilled my soul, like made me feel good as
Yeah.
a human being, and then being in spreadsheets and software, which I love in a different way
Yeah. That's
for
the
8
economics
in a
brain.
day.
Yeah.
I loved both, but they definitely are on different sides.
Yes.
And so with entrepreneurship, I was able to get rid of that conflict because I
Mm.
started the foundation and the charitable activities
Yeah.
almost out the gate.
Oh, wow.
Almost out the gate. And so what that did is I would say this to anyone who would join, I'd say, listen, you might be in a spreadsheet, but Impact is funded by Marvel. And
Yeah.
Impact just went and like helped build a school for a girls' school in South Africa. And
Oh, I love
Impact
it.
just helped, put an air conditioner in the Moria refugee camps when all those refugees were washing ashore. So
Yeah.
it got rid of that conflict for me.
Yeah, so it's almost a B Corp almost, like giving back, making money, but giving
Yeah,
back and having a good time and having purpose and
correct.
making money, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I love it.
Because a lot of people think they can get everything from one thing. Like I can get a job and it's
You
responsible
clearly
for
have pointed that you don't. You got it
correct.
from a bunch of different things.
Correct. So that's
Uh,
the number, like one of the best things. The other best thing is a little bit more self-focused, which is I tend to run out of room in organizations. I'll start doing
you
this,
take up space, which is not a bad thing.
start doing this, and I think this is
Hmm.
interesting. And in my job right now, I cannot fill this. It'll just keep growing around me. And
That's a good feeling to have. Yeah.
amazing. And then it also helps grow things for other people to benefit from. So
Yeah.
both of those things you really can't get outside of entrepreneurship easily.
You can't. You can't. Now, on the flip side, what keeps you up at night being an entrepreneur?
Not work. I get that question a lot in interviews. What keeps you
Yeah.
up at night? And they think it would be
No.
work. It's not because I have
It's
real
the
problems.
peninsula that you live on going into the ocean.
Exactly.
Call back. No.
Yeah, I mean, I have real problems. I had a very sick father for a long time. I have like human problems that to me,
That keeps you up at night versus because work
yeah,
is just fun for you.
work is yeah, it's fun and it's also something I have the most control over. Like
That's true.
if something is not going right or challenging, because trust me, it comes with its set of you know what, it comes with that, but it's something you have utility over. It's something,
Yeah.
you can show up and say, okay, I don't like this thing.
Then you
What
change it. Yeah.
And you even whether it changes or not is besides the point. The empowerment comes in the fact
But
that you have the
you
ability
do
to.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I love it. I
Correct.
love that.
It's not outside of your realm. You don't have to just deal with it. Whereas there's other things in life that you just are outside of your control, and that does keep me up at night. But that it's not work,
Including falling into the ocean. No,
including falling into the ocean. Was that before we started recording?
I don't know if that was pre-show or I don't know, but we're talking about how Maneeza grew up on a fault line, and she, as a kid, she was afraid that they would fall into the ocean. Now she's like, it is what it is.
We snap off. I guess it was a good thing.
Exactly. So what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Oh, that's a good question. The
Isn't
most
it? That's a good
important
one,
thing to carry with me.
You can go as woo-woo as you want to get.
Well, I'm trying to think, am I really doing that intentionally or not? Or are there just certain things I never put down? I don't know. Right? I'm trying to.
Well, let's start with that. What don't you ever put down?
First of all, I have an extremely strong sense of responsibility. So I don't take this very lightly because it's not just about me. If I decide to stop caring, it doesn't just impact me. It impacts me and everyone else that's trusted me with their careers, and all the clients that trust me with their business, and all the people that could benefit from impact. So that's pretty important. That's something that is never not with me.
Love that. Yeah.
Responsibility. The things I have to kind of remind myself to remember,
Cha-ching.
Exactly. It's not so default, is to just remember that a lot of people say, what is the secret to success? How do you become? It just feels like it's a relentless willingness to keep solving the same problem. Right? It's the same problem. It just looks a little different. And you have to make sure that when it looks like a little bit spikier or a little bit gnarlier, or a little bit villainesque, that it doesn't ruin your day.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. It might ruin your hour, but you want to work really
you gotta
hard.
Get past it. Exactly.
You put it in the right perspective.
Exactly. And so people can find you and hang out with you where? Is it LinkedIn? Is that like your watering hole of choice? Yeah,
LinkedIn is probably the biggest place I hang out professionally. I've gotten extremely lazy, particularly post-COVID.
It happens. So when you're COVID, you're stuck in the house. That's your one point of really socialization. Now it's like you can go out and network, you can get on calls, you can go on podcasts and all that stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I would say LinkedIn's the best place. And
of course, awesome marvelmarketers.com.
Of course, yes, of course. Always. If anyone needs our help, we're always welcome to help. But again, we actually don't have a sales arm at all after this long.
Word
referral.
All word of mouth. I couldn't get the word out. Word of mouth. Yes.
Yeah, I tell people we're the best and worst salespeople in the world. We're a secret agency. We don't talk about ourselves.
Secret agency. I like that. You're a secret agency.
We're a secret agency. Yeah, we'll fix it at that point. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Maneeza, thank you so much for being on.
I'm
so glad we finally got this, recorded.
Especially before California snaps off.
I know. We can see next time we'll check in. You'll be in a rowboat.
Exactly. Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me.
That's more of a canoe. Well, I'm doing the motions, but rowboat. This is a rowboat. That's a rowboat. There we go.
Yep.
But you're rowing through business. Awesome. On that note, we'll see everyone next week.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.